Let me start with something that might seem obvious to most people. We love simple things. One button, one swipe, one click. The fewer instructions something has, the better it feels. And here's the part that most people never really see. Every time something feels simple on the outside, it is usually more complex on the inside. And today, I want to talk about why engineers know this better than anyone else. Because simplicity is not exactly free, it is paid for somewhere else. And the cost is almost always hidden. If you've ever thought, this looks easy, how hard could it be? You should stick with me. By the end of this video, that sentence is going to feel very different. Now, most people assume simplicity means less work. Engineers know it usually means more work. And let's start with how people imagine engineering works. You design something, you build it, you're done, right? That's simple. Well, that's not how real systems ever work. Real systems are honestly just very messy. They have edge cases. They interact with other systems. They break in weird ways that you might not even expect. So when someone asks engineers to make something simpler, what they're really asking is this: hide the complexity. And that's where the real work begins. Let me give you a familiar example. Think about an elevator. You walk in, you press a button, it takes you to, wherever you want to go. That's it. That's all it does. No instructions, no thinking, it's just instincts. But behind that button is an insane amount of logic. Weight limits, door sensors, emergency stops, timing, motor control, there's all sorts of stuff. The elevator feels simple because engineers absorb the complexity for you. And that pattern shows up almost everywhere. Phones, apps, cameras, cars, websites, just to name a few. The smoother it feels, the more effort went into making sure that you would never notice what could go wrong. And here's the part that a lot of people also miss. Simplicity is not about removing complexity. It's just relocating it, just changing where it is. And engineers are the ones who carry it. I've seen this up close. My father is a lead software engineer, and he wrote code for the Ghost weather satellites that are above you right now. They track storms, they track systems, all that kind of stuff. And from the outside, those satellites do something very simple. They collect data, they send images, they track storms, right? But that simplicity only exists because thousands of decisions were made to handle everything that could go wrong. Lost signals, bad data, timing issues, hardware failures. The goal was not to make the system simple. The goal was to make it feel simple. That distinction honestly matters a whole lot. And here's where things get very interesting. Every time you simplify something for the user, you make the system a lot more complex underneath. And complexity has consequences. More code, more edge cases, more things that could possibly break. This is why engineers get nervous when someone says, "Can you just make it easier?" Because easier for who, in this case, and at what cost? Let's talk about apps. People want apps to do more things with fewer buttons. One tap to edit, one tap to share, one tap to undo. But every shortcut creates logic. What if the user taps twice? What if they lose connection while doing it? What if two things happen at once? Each convenience creates a new problem that has to be handled. And this is where many systems quietly become fragile. Not because engineers did a bad job at all, but because simplicity keeps piling complexity under the surface. And here's a rule engineers learn the hard way. Simple interfaces create honestly very complex systems. Complex interfaces create simple systems. That makes sense. Most people don't think about that. They just see the button. and they press it. Now, let me slow this down with a real pattern. Early versions of products are often clunky. Lots of options, lots of steps, lots of control, right? Then people complain. So engineers simplify. They remove buttons. They automate decisions. They hide the settings. The product feels better to you as the user until something goes wrong. And suddenly, nobody knows really what's happening because the system is now doing things for you. This is why engineers like transparency. Not because they want things to be harder, but honestly just because understanding prevents surprises. And surprises are not what you want. They are where systems fail all the time. Here's another example. Automatic doors. You walk up, they open, right? That doesn't seem complicated at all. And it feels perfect. Until they don't open. Then everyone stands there waiting and they're waving their arms, very confused, right? That door didn't break because it was badly designed. It broke because it had to decide when to open, and reality didn't match the assumptions. Simplicity always depends on assumptions, and assumptions eventually do fail. This leads to one of the most important engineering trade-offs. Do you optimize for ease of use or for clarity? Most customer products choose ease because they want the customers to be happy, right? Engineering teams quietly deal with the consequences. More testing, more monitoring, more fixes. Now, here's something that engineers rarely say out loud. The simpler a product looks, the harder it is to change because everything is interconnected. You remove one option, it affects 3 other systems. You simplify one screen, it breaks a workflow somewhere else. This is why engineers hate the phrase, just one small change. There is no such thing as a small change in a simple system, because simplicity means tight coupling. Everything depends on everything else. And the more polished something is, the more polished something is, the less flexible it becomes. That's the hidden cost. Now let's talk about updates. When a product is simple, users expect it to stay simple, right? And really any change feels bigger than it is. Engineers have to maintain consistency while evolving the system. And that's not easy. You're building on top of complexity that's already buried. And this is also why bugs in simple products feel worse. When something complex breaks, people expect it. When something simple breaks, people lose trust. Because simplicity creates expectations of reliability. And reliability is very expensive. Now, here's the part that honestly matters the most. Simplicity shifts responsibility. When a system is complex, users adapt to it over time, right? When a system is simple, the system, honestly, it adapts to the users. That means engineers must anticipate behavior. Mistakes, misuse, unexpected inputs. We make these all the time. The system has to be forgiving. And forgiveness requires a lot of logic, lots of it. And this is why engineers test edge cases. Not because they expect people to be careless, but honestly just because real usage never matches the ideal. And here's something you might not have even noticed. The most stable systems in the world often look boring. They aren't flashy, they're not clever, and the main underlying thing is they're predictable. That's intentional. Boring systems are usually honest about their complexity. They don't pretend things are easier than they are. And engineers love that. Because predictability scales. Flashy simplicity often really doesn't scale. So why do companies keep pushing simplicity? Because from the user's perspective, it honestly just works. We don't think anything about it. And that's not wrong, but behind the scenes, engineers are managing the trade-off. Every simplification increases maintenance, and every abstraction adds risk. Every shortcut needs a backup plan. And this brings us to an important mindset shift. Engineering is not about making things simpler. It's honestly just choosing where complexity lives. Do users carry it, or do engineers? Most of the time, engineers choose to carry it because, they don't want to bash on their customers. And that's a good thing, but it's never free. Now, here's something you can apply immediately after watching this video. When something feels simple, respect it. That simplicity was honestly very earned. And someone thought about failure modes. Someone handled edge cases. Someone tested weird scenarios. And when you're building something that it's built, and when you're building something yourself, remember this. If you want something to feel simple, expect the work to get harder. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It just means that you're doing it right. And I see this even in making videos. The cleaner and more effortless a video feels, the more planning happened beforehand. Now, I'm not a great editor, but I'm trying my best, so we'll see how it goes. And cutting complexity from the viewer adds complexity for me, right? Same pattern, same trade-off. And this is why engineering thinking applies everywhere. The goal isn't to eliminate complexity, it's to manage it responsibly. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Simplicity is not the absence of complexity. It's the result of someone else handling it for you. And usually, that someone is an engineer. Thanks for watching.